And good morning at 7:03 on this Tuesday, August 13th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Everybody, we welcome you on this sunny Tuesday. It's a terrific day, at least for right now. Don't know whether we can say that for the rest of the day or not, but just stay tuned for the weather forecast. We are on the air this morning, as we are for our local hospital and have been for years on our program here. But, of course, if you were listening the last week actually, at this time, you know that we have a name change, and it is now Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, and we are happy to be talking for them this morning. And want to remind you of the stroke support group that has been meeting on alternate months. That meets 6 times a year on Thursdays at 5 p.m. at the Rehab Center at McFarland, 500 Park Avenue in Lebanon, on the ground floor in the McFarland Conference Room. And the next meeting is scheduled for September the 12th. And it'll be here before you know it, a little more than a month away, or about a month away. The stroke support group promotes optimism, resilience, determination, and independence. They do get to share experiences, exchange resources, socialize, gain knowledge, problem solve, give mutual support, and empower, and all are welcome. You can come and bring a friend. Light refreshments are served, and for more information, call 615-443-6807 and reserve your spot for the September 12th stroke support group, again at 500 Park Avenue in the Rehab Center at McFarland. And speaking of McFarland, we remind you again, this is something that they have been extremely proud of, an award for efficient and effective care at the Rehab Center there, recognized as one of the top 10% of inpatient rehab facilities in the United States. Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, and we're glad to be on the air for them this morning, and welcome our guests, 2 of them today. We have the mayor of the city of Mount Juliet, Ed Haggerty.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, and we have city manager Kenny Martin. Good morning to
Coleman.
you. All right, how are you gentlemen doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. How about you today?
I'm doing fine.
You didn't mention my Power T-shirt that I've got on and my Tennessee socks. I mean,
Well, I hadn't noticed your socks till you stuck your foot out. I do see now that you mentioned it, I see the T on your shirt.
well, we're two weeks away from the best season of the entire calendar year. I mean, some people like spring, some people like summer. I like college football season, so
Yeah.
I'm getting ramped up.
Well, I have a friend who went somewhere and was sporting one of it was on him like a sport coat. It had UT orange all over it, and I'm not sure where he got it, but I did tell him that 5 out of the last 7 years, Vanderbilt has been the winner. And,
Here we go.
Just had to
Here
go
we
with
go.
it. Just had to do it.
You know, I have.
you brought it up.
I do have. If we go on vacation, go down to Gulf Shores or something, Katrina looks at my luggage and I pack all UT shirts, all. And she says, "Why do you do?" And then you get down there and you get into conversations with somebody's there from Alabama and somebody's there from Arkansas and wherever, and you just get into some great conversations. So.
You hadn't mentioned Georgia and Florida.
Well, I skipped those.
That's what makes the SEC so good. See, it's like it ebbs and flows. For so many years it's Tennessee, and then it goes to this one, and it goes to that.
One year we were driving on 65 South, and we probably threw out into Alabama at least at that point, and Tennessee was playing Georgia that particular day. And these guys passed me, and they were obviously Georgia fans. And he rolled his window down, and he had his cap, Georgia cap, and he stuck it out the window and aimed it at me. I was like, "You're going 60 miles an hour, dude. That cat's going to go flying."
That would have been funny if it had done that.
Kenny, what's new with you?
Good. Life's been good. It's been warm out lately. Of course, everybody's dealing with that, and just enjoying the weather. Plenty of rain this year.
I went out about 5 o'clock to get paper this morning. I couldn't believe it was so warm at 5 o'clock. I mean, it kind of hits you as you walk out there, and it's kind of still that way.
Yeah, we've been lucky this year. If you think about it, even though it's been hot, it's been a lot like Vegas type hot. Where it's hot, but yet the humidity's not been as bad this year. But today the humidity is supposed to be, I think it's like already 80-some-odd%
and
this morning. So
pretty high yesterday, too.
yeah, it makes it feel a lot hotter. But no, I was thinking about you recently because we were talking about the Reds. And every time I see something about the Reds, they've been doing really well, it seems like.
Well, better than last year.
Yeah. It seems like there's a lot of good talk about them lately. Every time I see that, I think about you.
Yeah, they played Chicago, the Cubs, 4 games over the weekend. They split, but they should have won 3 of them. Last night, Washington gets out, the Nationals out to a 7-2 lead. The Reds come back and wind up losing 7-6.
Ouch.
Those one-run games kill
They
you.
drive you crazy.
Yeah, anyway. Y'all have a meeting last night? I
did.
figured you had a big one with both of you here this morning.
We did have a big meeting, and I'll come every time you invite me.
You're always welcome.
No, Kenny always says, hey, after the meeting, you going to radio? And depends how late we get out, really. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
One night we sat there pretty late, and so I didn't,
Well, I'm sure
you're on your own,
he's a
buddy.
little younger than you. He doesn't
That's
require
true.
as much sleep.
That's
so,
true.
okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
But we got out pretty quick last night. So we had a fairly short meeting, but we did some really important stuff that's headline news, really, is we did fill the vacancy. Commissioner Abston had resigned
Right.
back on May 24th, I want to say. And, of course, he moved out of the district and so had to resign. And they got their dream home, so that's great for them. So we've been trying to fill that vacancy in this. The city charter mandates how to do that. We have 90 days to do that by appointment, and if we fail to do so in the 90-day time period, then it goes to a special election.
And
So
there have been some differences of opinion, to put it mildly.
There has been, and so last night we were up against the 90-day clock. And so we finally did make an appointment, and the new commissioner is a lady. Her name is Jennifer Mullally, and she's a longtime resident of the district, so that's a good thing. Has been active, probably never dreamt in her wildest dreams that she would be an elected official or appointed official, and so now she is, and that was by a vote of 3-1. So
Is this kind of
exciting.
a compromise? Would you say?
I'm not sure how it's hard to figure it out. 2 people were voting, for a different person, and then they switched and voted for her. So I nominated her.
Had she been in the running all along?
She came into the process at some point, not from the very beginning, but halfway through. She threw her name in the hat. And so it was, that's probably the headline news today on any of the local papers, that seat is filled by appointment, and it's Jennifer Mullally, and she will serve from really our next meeting, which is August 26th, all the way through to November 2020. And at that point, she can run for re-election or not.
Is that when the term expires?
The term would have expired.
So really,
Excuse me, it would not have expired. It would have been our next regularly scheduled election.
Okay, all right, got it, right. So she's appointed to serve until the next election.
To November 2020. Had we not done that, we were up against the 90-day clock, and so we would have been going to a special election, and so that process was averted at this point. So,
well, a special election would cost you a little money too.
We would have paid, and the election commission told us to budget about $20,000. We actually had that on the agenda should we need it, and we did not need to pass that. So I think that's big news. I mean, that's a great thing. So we've got that position filled, and we're back to 5, and we can conduct business again. So.
Well, anything from you on that, Kenny Martin?
No, I think they did the right thing. I appreciate all their efforts. Something like that shouldn't be easy. And there's old saying is if it's easy, everybody do it. But I appreciate what they did, and that they, I guess you could say, some compromise to some degree, being that the fact that appointed someone till 2020, which it gives the other folks an opportunity if they choose, or anybody else, to seriously think about it between now and then if they choose to run. And then it gives the district and the city an opportunity to vote for themselves, but it did give them a representative immediately, which I appreciate.
You got another, maybe a lesser headline?
Well, we do have some other stuff, but I just wanted to tag on to it.
Okay.
We were anxious to get someone as a representative for that area. There's obviously a lot of activity in the Providence area. They need a representative, she actually brought an issue as a citizen that was needing a commissioner to the table last night. So I think it was a good thing that we were able to do that and move forward and get a representative in there. Had we done the special election, we would have been another 60 or 90 days with that area unrepresented, and then that person would have served a fairly short time. So we've had to do this. This is, I think, the fourth time that we've had to appoint due to a resignation. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't, and so we're hoping this one works out. So.
Okay. Well, we need to work into a break right here, and this would be a good time for it. We've got a lot more to talk about with Mount Juliet Mayor Ed Haggerty, City Manager Kenny Martin. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:14. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. So I want to thank our friends at Absolute Kubota and Rental Land Pride. Quality tractor implements, including cutters, finish mowers, box blades, tillers, and more. 5-year gearbox warranty. Extremely durable and well-built. 1325 West Main. Now at traffic. Here's Chuck.
Injuries in Hermitage tying up the 3400 block of Lebanon Pike right now. They did manage to move all damaged vehicles over to the side here as we look at it live on 24 westbound at OHB, but that traffic volume coming in from Rutherford County right now is just so heavy trying to get up through here right now. It's also heavy on 40 westbound through Hermitage, Donaldson. All that traffic flow now coming in from Wilson County. Around the neighborhood oil change can come to your work or home or save you time, save you money. Call Around the Neighborhood Oil Change today at 709-2-OIL. That's 709-2645. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
It's a new day at Lebanon Health and Rehabilitation. Lebanon Health and Rehabilitation has experienced new leadership, a new atmosphere at the same location in the heart of Lebanon, located at 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Health and Rehabilitation is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. It's a new day at Lebanon Health Care and Rehabilitation.
Head coach Mike Vrabel's in year number 2 with talent on defense.
It's intercepted. Kevin Myers, Jarrell Casey, First John Landry with the sack.
Join us right here with the voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, and Coach Dave McGinnis.
Brought to you by Absolute Kubota Exmart, Bates Ford, Fakes and Hooker, Steamwell Plumbing, and the Jewelers.
This is Wilson County's home for real country music and the Tennessee Titans. Real Country 98.9.
Coleman and Company, our program presented by Vanderbilt, Wilson County Hospital, and again with me, Mayor Ed Haggerty, City Manager Kenny Martin from the city of Mount Juliet. Let's move into other things.
Yeah, we did take care of some business last night, and some that's really good news for the county and for the school system is that we voted unanimously to accept a performance bond from the school system instead of a letter of credit for the new Green Hill High School. And that's huge. That saves the school system hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that. We did this same exact thing on Springdale Elementary. Worked out just fine. Our just so you everybody understands, our ordinances require a letter of credit.
Letter of credit, yes, sir.
Which is significantly more expensive than generating a bond for that same amount of work. And when typical developers come in, we're pretty hard on that point. We require a letter of credit, and our public works people can tell you some stories as to why we do. And our director of public works got up and said, hey, we did this on Springdale. It worked out great. And so no problem going forward on Green Hill. And so that's what we did last night unanimously. So again, we have some unpleasantries right now with the school system, but we're not really focused on that. We're going to go forward in a positive way and help when we can, and that saved them a significant sum.
So at least you put the differences aside to do this and what you feel like is good and right for everybody.
Yeah, we're all, and through all this unpleasantry, we've been trying to do the right thing. We've waived fees for years and years and years. Other municipalities have not done that. We help every which way we can, and we helped again last night. So trying to do the right thing.
You've got other things to talk about?
We had other typical city business, rezones and what have you. annexation, which of course comes by request now. We took care of that last night, so that was all good. But probably the best thing that's going on is we have a big event coming up, and I'm sure Kenny can tell you a lot more about it, but it's the Celebrate Mount Juliet event on September the 14th. Do you have the details?
Yes, sir. You won't
Go
tell.
ahead. I don't know.
Yeah. September 14th, and that morning as well, we'll have a BPAC walk. I won't say that. They've moved the time. It's earlier that morning, like from 8 to 10. And then I think at 10, it's the first time we've done this. We've been trying to find that signature event like a lot of communities do. We had Bluegrass Festival years ago, and the commission, and in particular Commissioner Ray Justice, had a lot of passion about this, work with the Parks Director. And there'll be a series of bands and food trucks and bouncies and just about everything you think of is completely free. It'll start at 10, I think, run to 2 p.m. and maybe even longer that day. And the headlining band is Little Texas. I don't know if and they were very, very popular and still are very popular and tour all over the country. So they're managed, I think, are maintained by are promoted by the same folks that do Charlie Daniels. So we thought that was pretty cool because it's Charlie Daniels Park. And we're excited about doing things like that.
Now, what are you calling this again?
Celebrate Mount Juliet Day. And what's cool about it, there will be some history exhibits set up around the walking trail so people can sort of revisit the past of Mount Juliet. Because a lot of people don't realize Mount Juliet was founded in 1835, and some people say maybe even earlier than that, and then incorporated in 1972. And so there's a lot more history there than what people really truly realize. And so we're just recognizing that. Our city's getting older every year, just like any other community, and a lot of history there.
Trying to remember who it was. Somebody just a day or two ago was on here. I think grew up in Mount Juliet and remembers when there was only one traffic light.
Yeah. And that had been too many years ago, actually. When Jerry Monday and I went through the police academy, they kidded us because the first thing we did, this is a neat story, is the first day of the police academy when Jerry and I got there. Well, we're pretty close. Donaldson to Mount Juliet's pretty close. So we got there, I don't know, about 20 minutes early. As soon as we walked in the door, they looked at me and Jerry and said, get down and give us 50. Well, Jerry was a bodybuilder, so he could give 50, and I was 125 pounds, so 50 for me was undoable. And I remember thinking, why in the world are we doing push-ups? And so when I got up from finally getting 50 push-ups in, the guy said, you're from Mount Juliet, you should have got here earlier.
Ooh, wow.
So it's it's hilarious. There's a lot of, but anyway,
that sounds like a Marines or something.
Yeah, exactly, and it was actually good for us. And but anyway, the reason I was saying that is that at that particular time, I think we had like maybe 2 traffic lights, and they would kid us about that because in the academy, a lot of the cities were much bigger, so they had a lot more stuff, and Lebanon had a lot more stuff, so we'd get picked at because we were just this little small town. Now look, and we've got 20 some odd traffic lights or whatever, and more going up all the time. So.
And over 30,000 people?
Yeah, never thought we'd see that, to be honest with you.
I always love hearing those old stories. I know Mr. Page, and his son Jeff's about my age, and we're friends. And he was telling me one day that his dad was driving. He was just a young boy, probably 8 years old or something, in the passenger seat, going down Mount Juliet Road to Division. And the joke, it was actually a joke. Mr. Page would say to his son, look over that way, boy. Anybody coming? And that was a joke because nobody was ever coming.
Yeah, no, there
was no traffic light, and they just swung a left. I'm surprised you didn't hook them up with a ticket or something for that. But
especially back then. And it's funny, speaking of Mr. Page, who was one of our commissioners at one time years ago, and his father, his good friend, he talks about when he was a little boy and he used to sell tomatoes. And he said sometimes he'd fall asleep in the back bed of the pickup truck, and somebody'd wake him up, and he'd raise up and say, "Maters," because that was his sales line, I guess. And he got that from Paul Mabry, who apparently lived on Lebanon Road as well. So it's neat when you start talking about a lot of the history in your community. And so we're just trying to recognize that, and we're with more and more history and
I guess one of your predecessors, you were once police chief, but. I guess, I don't know whether he's ever police chief, but he was a constable one time, Mr. Buell Agee.
Sure enough.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. We've got pictures, and we always have had since day one in the police department of Mr. Buell Agee. Oddly enough, years ago, I remember we had a display out there, and his badge was on it, and somebody stole the badge. And so we did another display, of course, and it's been in the police department and in our new police department on Charlie Daniels for years now. And in our minds, he was our first true police chief. And then Charles McCurry came after that, and the rest is history. But in those days, police work was different. And they say if Mr. Buell Agee caught you doing something you shouldn't do, No, did you get in trouble with him on the side of the road? He took you home to your mom and daddy, and then you got in trouble there.
In trouble again.
It was that small.
All that said, we did have another item on our agenda last night, which was the comprehensive transportation plan for going forward. So what incredible changes we've seen, and that plan is, I don't even remember the dollar amount. Was it $100 million to do what we need to do for going forward in the future? And it was only a discussion item. We did not pass that last night, but we've had some work sessions on it, and we're going to have another. But it's comprehensive in that it's not only new road networks that we will need, but it's also geared to biking and walking. So many alternate forms of transportation as well. So,
well, you have I'm trying to think of the name. I want to get it right for Ray Justice here. The Golden Bear Gateway.
Golden Bear Gateway. That's correct. Mm-hmm.
That has that alleviated some traffic? Has it helped some?
It's certainly getting more and more traffic on it, and there's certainly economic development opportunities out there, which is great. We used it this morning, and of course I had to twist his arm to use it because he likes to.
So used to
he likes to go up the other way and check on everybody. He's looking and checking, see if everybody's doing the right thing. I'm like, let's get to Lebanon as quickly as we can. Yeah. So we took Golden Bear, which it's a great road, and it has helped, yes.
But I guess the next big thing, from what I'm thinking at least, would be the new interchange at Central Pike.
That's the big one, yeah, and that is thankfully on the faster track with the state. There's a number of approvals that have to be made, not only at state level, but at the federal level. We've cleared most of those hurdles. We're into spending money. I forget the exact amount that we're going to be on the hook for in this upcoming year, but it's significant, millions, to do the different engineering parts that have to be done.
So your right-of-way purchase has got to be made
that
too?
Will come later once that's designed, and some of that right-of-way has been verbally committed to us, because it's helpful for a number of property owners as well. But that's the number one project at the MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization. It's number one project for the city of Mount Juliet. It's moving ahead as briskly as it can, and yes, that's our ticket. That's our golden ticket. I mean, we've got to have that interchange to take the pressure off South Mount Juliet.
What kind of time frame are we thinking here? You talking about 8 or 10 years?
Oh, I hope not. I hope it's less than 5. Yeah. We told people 5. It'd be 5 years, but that was like 3 years ago, and now we're still saying 5. So it's desperately needed. South Mount Juliet Road through Providence, not only the shoppers, of course, but people who live south of Providence, particularly those in the county.
But that would make a significant difference in the traffic flow.
Absolutely, yes, because they would essentially bypass South Mount Juliet Road. So that's our number one project.
Okay. All right, you got any newcomers you want to mention this morning?
I do.
Growth hasn't stopped, has it?
No, it hasn't, and that's actually a good thing, because a lot of the benefits that we get, for example, the mayor and the commission, and I'll say this, I'm really proud of them. I'm in my 30th year, and I want to give a shout out to Ms. Sheila Luckett. She's in her 31st year, and we'll recognize her this week for 30 years of service, and she's the third person that we currently have still on staff that's going to be recognized for that, which is a huge honor, and we appreciate her immensely. But I'm proud for somebody that's been at the city for a long time to see some things we didn't do in the past, like with greenways and sidewalks and road improvements, to the tune of $20 plus to $40 million set aside. We won't spend it all in 1 year, but the city's basically committed to road projects. And the majority of road projects are state projects. Central Pike, South Mount Juliet Road, Highway 7, the bridge at 40, and all the right-of-way it's got to be acquired, engineering, environmental. And it takes a while, and sometimes the leadership gets criticized for it takes a while. But in this day and time, with just all the hurdles, you've got to do it. But if you don't start at some point, you won't ever get it done. So the blessings of that is to at least have those things in the queue, and they'll benefit the city for a long time to come. And to give an example why they're important, think of new businesses. White Castle, Mount Juliet closed, and I think they closed the one in Hermitage. And that's just typical business tradition. But in its place is coming to Panda Express, which we've been wanting for years. For people that are out there that like Panda Express, they're excited about it. We still got Crystal, so that's very similar to the White Castle. Slotsky's Deli, which a lot of people remember those. We're getting one of those. We're excited about that. a place called Slim Chickens. And no, even though the mayor says this sometimes about my legs, it has nothing to do with my legs. Slim Chickens. I hear that a lot about, better looking legs on a chicken. Exxon Convenience Center, which we've desperately needed in the Providence area, close to Jason's Deli. Vanderbilt, which we spoke about earlier, is putting some medical offices beside Jason's Deli on the Parkway. Christian Brothers Automotive is building on Highway 70, which is right across from the new high school, which we're most appreciative of, Green Hill High School. The Honda dealership is nearing completion. They'll be open by the end of the year. Muse City Motor Cars will be opening beside that. And just another list. It's something else I'm excited about through the commission, has worked very hard for years. There's 3 different RTA train stops in Lebanon, and they all do well. But we've got one in Mount Juliet, and ridership alone for that one equals that of the 3 that are here in Lebanon, which we're excited. We want more and more riders. So the commission worked really hard in the RTA and partnering together to expand the lot at the Mount Juliet station to the tune of about $800,000. And I think total it's adding about another, I won't say 100 parking spaces, which is good because it gives that many more people opportunity to ride the train, but also it beautifies that corner in addition to the clock tower that we're building. And the mayor will be making some announcements in the near future for some very exciting businesses that I'm going to hang on to that and let him make that announcement later. But just hang on your hats. There's some good things coming to the city of Mount Juliet and Wilson County.
All right, we've come to the end of our time. It's been really nice to have you both here this morning. And
Thank you for having us.
Well, we appreciate you coming, taking time. You don't have to, but we do appreciate it, and I'm sure our listeners appreciate hearing what's happening on the other side of 109 occasionally, too.
Thank you.
Mayor Ed Haggerty, City Manager Kenny Martin. And that is it, our program presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Stay with us for more here on FM 98.9.
And it's 7:29. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. Tire rotation, safety check, 5 quarts of oil plus tax and disposal. It's only $39.95. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. There's still a little bit of rubbernecking going on from this wreck that's over to the side here on 40 eastbound at Jefferson Street, 65 southbound at Harding Place. Checking on a wreck there. The heaviest flow is northbound on 65. Now, approaching Harding Place, all that traffic flow coming up through Brentwood, West End, and Bowling. That's a crash waiting for you at that intersection. And they moved a wreck earlier up on Vietnam Vets near Conference Drive. It's just so heavy through Hendersonville. Hey, it's better to know them than not know them. Free at last bail bonds. If you ever need them, call 242-FREE. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
It's your first day in business, a new space, real investors, and butterflies the size of dinner plates. For peace of mind, protect your dream and call THW Insurance. Local folks representing quality companies like Westfield Insurance. Whether your business is large or small, contact Lori Carter of THW at 615-547-5632 or stop in and see her at the Wilson Bank and Trust West Main office.
We'll see mainly sunny skies as we start up today. However, more clouds will push in during the afternoon. Along with that, the chance for scattered showers and storms as we go through this evening. Highs will top out in the upper 90s with feel like temps well above 100 degrees. Scattered storms will stick with us through the overnight as well, with lows falling into the mid-70s. That's your forecast. I'm meteorologist Nisa Lomax.
Coleman Company, welcome to part 2. It's our Tuesday morning. Sean Dozier joins us to talk about Marshside City.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
I'm doing well. Notice the humidity this morning.
Very hot. I was in Knoxville yesterday. We were moving with my youngest daughter to Tennessee and going up those stairs and moving all that stuff in. It was hot. But it's hotter today.
Well, I think we're going to have a front to come through, and it's going to cool it off and lower the humidity. I got out and did a little yard mowing yesterday afternoon, but I didn't notice it being any worse than any other time. I like to get out there and get hot and sweaty after
Do you
it gets good
push or
from
do you
hell.
ride your...
Well, Helen does the riding part, and I
Okay.
do the pushing
Oh, good.
part.
That's good exercise.
Works
for
pretty
you.
well. Yeah, I get more exercise than she does that way. We need to talk about Hearthside Senior Living, Retirement, Assisted Living Community at 215 Castle Heights Avenue North. Sean Dozier is the executive director, and he comes here each Tuesday to tell us, kind of give us an update, and just tell everybody that it's available when you need it.
Sure, it's always been there since 1994. Of course, we call it Hearthside Senior Living now because we believe we have, senior living services. We have our independent living homes, which by the end of this year we'll have 30 completed. And then, of course, the tradition of I like to call it the tradition of the assisted living. It's been there for a long time and has served so many people and has had a great reputation over the years.
You have the opportunity to continue that.
That's what I always say. I say to continue the tradition, I believe. Yeah. But yeah, and I really enjoy the assisted living. Wonderful people there, and we're getting ready for the fair coming up. Everybody's, I'm sure, getting ready for the fair. But senior night, or not senior night, senior night.
Senior afternoon.
Senior afternoon.
Late afternoon.
I was going to say night, but it's senior afternoon from 4 to 6 is Monday. So we take a group over there. Teresa does a good job with that. There'll be about 20 booths set up over there at the fairgrounds. So we're going to take a group over there. We'll have a booth set up. So if you want to come by and say hello, we'll be there from 4 to 6 passing out goodies. A lot of vendors will be there passing out a lot of great things. So I encourage our seniors to come over Monday night from 4 to 6 over at the fairgrounds. And then the assisted living, every year, Coleman, and this was long before I got there, they do a fair week. And Betty Kelly and a bunch of volunteers put on the fair at Hearthside for our residents there because a lot of them can't get out to go to the fair. So it's a big deal, and I don't have the list in front of me, but they do a lot of great things, a lot of fun things next week. So I know they're all looking forward to that.
And probably all get to recall memories of the Wilson County Fair.
They've grown up here in Wilson County, and 99% of them have been every year that they could. So we like to bring a little taste of that to Hearthside every year.
Yeah. You got any vacancies right now?
We have a medium room available, and I think we still have that large room available. I'll have to check when I get back today. I know several people have been looking at it. But so if you're interested, stop by to see us. Call 444-1994. You can check out our website at hearthsideliving.com. But the best thing to do is just stop by. We had several people stop by Friday and Saturday, so a lot of people just take advantage of that. They just show up and see what's going on.
Now, as far as your assisted living community, you don't have anything available there, do you?
Assisted living, yeah, we have that large room available, and then the medium room available. The assisted living.
I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I meant the retirement.
Oh yeah, the retirement community. Yeah, we're sold out. We're sold out in the retirement community. You never know. There may be some openings here or there, but we've got the last 2 homes that we're building right now, and those 2 have contracts on them. Those folks are ready to move in as soon as possible. I've got to talk to Tony Watson to get that moving a little quicker. So they want to move in by the holidays, but everything's going great down there, and things are sold out down there.
Well, we know that you've been voted the best time after time. You've got a great tradition there that you continue to continue.
We will continue it. We view it as a ministry. We continue to see it that way, and we're there to serve folks when they need that season of life. They need a little extra services, or they want that independent lifestyle. We're there for them.
Yeah. All right. How about a Hearthside hello?
Well, I saw on Facebook today it's Dr. Sy's birthday, Bernie Sy. He's at Family Medical. He's medical director at Lebanon Health and Rehab for many years when I was there, and just a great doctor. And just wanted to say happy birthday to him and a Hearthside hello to Mr. Bernie.
Okay. All right. A happy birthday and a hello.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Have a good week.
All right. You too. That is Sean Dozier, Executive Director, Hearthside Senior Living, Retirement Assisted Living Community, 215 Castle Heights Avenue North, right here in Lebanon, Tennessee. We're about 22 minutes before the 8 o'clock hour. And Director of Schools for the Lebanon Special School District, Scott Benson, is with us this morning. And, Scott, it is good to see you.
Hello, Coleman.
How you been?
Hey, we're great. Glad to be here this morning.
School has started since you were here the last time.
Yeah, what an exciting time of the year. We're in our second full week of school this week.
Did you get going on the 1st of August?
August 1st, first day. That was a Thursday. Yes, sir. We sure did.
Well, what about enrollment?
Enrollment is up just like we thought it would be. We predicted we'd start the year between 3950 and 4000, and that has held true. As of the close of business yesterday, Coleman, we were 3983, so 3,983 students. I'll let you know that that's a moving target. That's actually 123 students more than the first day of school on August 1st. So we've been on a steady incline, and that's pretty typical for us, Coleman. It takes a while for them to all get there, so to speak. So,
but 123 more than you started with
on the first day.
Weeks
right, that's right. Yeah, so I expect that number to keep inching closer to the 4,000 number, and there's no doubt in my mind we'll surpass that this school year, probably pretty early in the school
you're,
year.
What, only 17 away?
Yeah. If my math is correct, I think yours is.
You got some more news for us this morning?
We do. We're going to break a little news on your program this morning, Coleman. We've been talking about it for a couple of months. If you'll recall, when I was here this summer, I requested authority from the Board of Education back in June when it comes to naming the school, to give the superintendent and the naming committee the authority to do that. And so been working on that. If you'll recall, we engaged our community back in the spring and our schools and students, and we had an online platform that we put out there, and we had over 300 suggestions or recommendations for the name of the new school. Oh, that's pretty remarkable. Actually, if you think about it, over 300.
Yes, it is. And let me ask you, were more of those to name it in memory or honor of somebody, or was it more of a location type?
You know, it's probably a good mix of those. Yeah, we had lots of folks that were named there, people that had been in our district for a long time, contributed greatly to the Lebanon Special School District, as well as location. So, yeah, the Hartman Drive, of course, is where it's located, so the address there. But the Cedar City and Barton's Creek and those kind of things. But then lots of names, like I said, several that were associated with the school district. Had lots of presidents, former presidents as well, and other folks that are relative to Tennessee, Lebanon, A.C. Wharton, Danny Evans, lots of folks from the district, Jim Kidwell, longtime employee, administrator in the district, Kenneth Watts, a longtime principal in the district. So lots of names there, but as the committee, we narrowed it down and ended up having a unanimous decision. We're going to, our brand new school, which is going to break ground this fall and going to open in August of 2021, going to be named for two truly champions of education in our district, Coleman, and that's Mr. Steve Jones and Mr. Andy Brummett, and it's going to be Jones Brummett Elementary in the Lebanon Special School District.
Jones Brummett Elementary.
Yeah,
you heard it first, right?
Heard it first here on Coleman. So we're happy to do that.
These gentlemen know about this, I guess.
They do. Now. They do. I actually met with them yesterday individually and made them aware of that, and I think they were both quite touched at the sentiment and the gesture from the district.
Know about it before you spread the word.
Absolutely, yeah. I try to keep them informed of things that are going on, so this would be no exception. But really excited about that. And Coleman, I think you'd be hard pressed to find anywhere, whether you're in the state of Tennessee or across the country, two gentlemen that have contributed more to a school district than they have. And if I could just briefly, just a little history. Mr. Jones has been on the board since 1988. He became a board member in that year and still on the board, obviously. And he became the chairman of the board in 1992 and has served in that capacity since. So I actually put in a call to TSBA to trying to find out where he ranked, because a couple of years ago, I think there was one gentleman in front of him that had served longer, and I don't know if that gentleman is still on the board or not, but I can tell you he's in the top one or two longest serving board members in the state of Tennessee. Mr. Jones has never missed a board meeting, and obviously we've grown tremendously since he's been on the board.
Never missed a
board meeting since 1988.
Wow.
Yeah, that's according to him. Now I'm trusting him that he's telling me the truth. I haven't been to every one of those, but
That's something in itself.
That sure is.
Yeah.
It sure is. Yeah. So,
I mean, he's a businessman, and everybody gets sick every once in a while,
and maybe out of town for different reasons. That is correct. Never missed a board meeting. Hey, another fact that I'll throw out to you, Coleman. There are very few, actually, across the state of Tennessee, school board members that receive no compensation, and we're one of them. In the Lebanon Special School District, it's truly a service to serve on our board, because our board members do not receive pay for that. So moving to Mr. Brummett, and Mr. Brummett, a longtime employee, as you well know. He started in 1973 with the school district as a teacher at Highland Heights Elementary. He was later appointed principal at Walter J. Baird. That was in 1982, and he served in that capacity until he was appointed superintendent in 1989, and he served as superintendent of the district from 89 to 2005. Took a little break for a couple of years, but he came back as a board member in 2008, and currently serves in that capacity as well. So, like I said, I think you'd be hard pressed to find two individuals that have served longer and given more to a local school district.
Well, I'm acquainted with both. I have to say I know Andy Brummett quite a bit better, and more involved with him.
He would say, "I'm sorry,
Mr. Jones," but that they are two who have really served the district well and for a long time, and Andy in the various capacities, and they both know a lot about education. If they didn't know when they started, they know by now.
That's right.
And I think this is great. Jones Brummett Elementary.
Yes, sir.
Jones Brummett Elementary. Okay. Well, now we all know. And I'll out of all the hundreds of opportunities you had here, they came out to top, and the vote was unanimous.
Vote was unanimous. Yes, it sure was. And obviously they were mentioned several times out of the 300 plus that we received. And I even took a couple of phone calls after being on your show, Coleman. I tell you all the time, people listen to your show, that I mentioned the naming of the school, I think both in June and July when I was on the show. Told you that we were working on that, and took a few phone calls after being on your show of people, and both of those phone calls wanted to nominate those two individuals. So not only did they come up in the online platform that we did, but folks were calling me on the phone about that as well. So.
Okay, Scott Benson, Director of Schools, Lebanon Special School District, is here this morning, and the big news, the new elementary will be Jones Brummett Elementary, and open, you said
Fall of 21.
Fall of 21. Okay. We'll take a break right here, and more coming up on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:47. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Get $50 off, $250 repair offer to owners of 4 to 10-year-old Ford, Lincoln, or Mercury vehicles. Bates Ford, now at traffic. Let's check in with Chuck.
Good morning. Checking on an accident, possibly with injuries here in the construction, 440 eastbound, and right near Hillsborough Pike. I mean, it's just a tight squeeze through there as it is. Now we've got this accident with injuries here on 440 east at Hillsborough Pike. Moving that wreck to the side now on 65 southbound near Armory. The heaviest flow in that area now is coming up from Brentwood on 65 northbound, passing Armory all the way up to 440. If you're buried in credit card debt, learn how you can reduce that debt down to a fraction of what you owe. Call 1-800-380-4293. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour.
Now you can get a great-looking cut in less time every time with an Exmark. The Mowers Landscape Pros trust 2-to-1 over the next best-selling brand of mowers. Right now, step up to Exmark with their newly redesigned Quest Zero-Turn Riders, the Exmark Radius, or go pro with the Exmark Laser Z, the most respected zero-turn mower in the business. Check them out today at Absolute Kubota, 1325 West Main Street in Lebanon. Exmark, ready to work for you.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us, and our thanks to Scott Benson, Director of Schools at Lebanon Special School District, for coming out and being our guest once a month, or if he is not here or can't, every once in a great while you send somebody else. But you do a good job coming out here, letting us know what's happening in the school district, and I certainly do appreciate it. Look forward to your visit each time.
Yes, sir, I do too as well, and love talking about the school district. Yeah, we're doing wonderful things. We have great people working hard for our students, so it's a pleasure.
Well, you got more. Did you have, when was your last board meeting?
No, last board meeting was in July, at the end of July, and we passed a budget and that sort of thing. We can talk about a few things there, but we typically don't meet in August just because we meet so late in July.
Right.
So we'll meet again in September.
You'll be meeting in September.
Yes, sir.
And you'll be back after that one.
I think, actually, I'm going to be here the week before we meet because September is the month that we meet the third week instead of the second week because of the superintendent's conference.
We're probably confusing everybody, but you'll be here in September.
I'll be here in September. Right. That's right.
We won't worry.
I'm confused myself.
We won't worry about whether there was a meeting before. There's always plenty to talk about.
Very good. We'll be here.
What else you got for us?
Hey, I mentioned just a couple more things about the new school. This is exciting. We, of course, the planning stages have been going on for a long time, and sort of comes to a head tomorrow. We will open bids for our project tomorrow afternoon, Coleman. So that's a big time for us. We'll get to look at some concrete numbers, what it's going to cost us to build this school, and right after that, within just a few days, we'll be turning around and selling bonds for the financing of our new school. And I'm told that if things go well, we'll be moving some dirt over on our property at 1530 Hartman Drive right around Labor Day. So that's just around the corner, and we're excited about that. Yeah.
Well, this is when you have something like this, a new project to work on, and it doesn't come about overnight. The thought process started a long time ago, and you already have an idea what the school's going to look like, how big it's going to be, maybe your colors, a lot has gone into this already. Right?
It sure has. Yeah, we started. It's probably 4 or 5 years ago now, where we purchased the property in anticipation of this day, and been working with our construction managers and architects to get to this point. So a lot of people involved, a lot of planning, obviously, and so we're excited to get a concrete number and start moving dirt here soon.
And then once the school is about ready to open, there's got to be the redistricting, I guess you call that.
Do we have to talk about that now, Coach? Well, when you talk about rezoning, that's always a hot topic and can stir some emotions, but we've been looking at that already. I tell you, probably been looking at that close to a year now, and it's going to be tricky just moving from 4 elementaries to 5 in our school district and feeding 2 middle schools, and just the location of our schools. And our schools are in close proximity to each other, and so we're going to get it worked out, and it'll work just fine, but we'll probably have some growing pains getting there. But yeah, we'll do that a little closer to time to open the school.
All right. If you weren't listening in the first portion of this half hour, you told us that as of yesterday, your enrollment was 3983, 17 short of 4,000, and it's right in the range that you had predicted earlier. But something that I found sort of amusing here, you said about every day you've had a few more people show up to go to school. So the number has grown. What did you say? 100?
Yeah, and in less than 2 weeks, we've grown 123 students across the district. So.
And then probably Labor Day, a few more.
Yeah, we'll continue to inch up towards that 4,000 mark, and we always get a bump right after Labor Day, and folks that move in, from other places, and that's happening a lot these days. So,
well, one thing I was going to, you do have your own school bus system. Are you okay with bus drivers at this time?
I tell you, Coleman, that's another good question, and that's depending on what day you ask me, Coleman. To be honest with you, and I've said this before on the air. If we have anybody out there interested in driving a bus, we would be interested in talking to you. But we have 3 or 4 in the pipeline right now that are training, so that is a positive for us, and we're excited about that. The only issue with that is it takes them a while to be fully licensed and trained and that sort of thing. But it seems like we've been bitten by a bug over the last week or so, where we've had a couple drivers that have gotten sick or had to have surgery and this, that, and the other. So we've had a few that have been out, and that has impacted us. It really hasn't impacted our families or our students, because we've worked it out with sub drivers that we have. We have a couple of folks that work in the schools that we would rather not utilize if we don't have to, but we've had to ask those folks to do that, to step up, because they are licensed. But yeah, we've managed with that, but we're always interested in hiring a few more drivers if we could. But I'm glad to say we do have a few in the pipeline right now that are training. But anybody listening, Coleman, because I know there are folks out there listening, if you're interested in driving for the Lebanon Special School District, we'd be interested in talking to you.
Well, one other positive about that, if your routes are rather, most of them I think are rather short. You're not in. I mean, it is an obligation morning and afternoon, but it's not a lot of time, and it doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be different than a lot of the larger school districts across the state. I think with being a smaller school district, basically we're talking about, give or take, a little more than an hour in the morning and a little more than an hour in the afternoon. And when you break that down, we pay a daily rate for that. It's very competitive, especially when you look at the number of hours that our bus drivers work. They're paid really well if you look at it from that angle. But tremendous responsibility and a very important job in our school district. And we've talked about that before. They're the face of our school district out in the community and picking up our children. And we certainly appreciate the job that they do. And hey, another thing that we started a year ago, we have teacher monitors on all of our buses in the afternoons and a few of them in the morning. But that has really helped. And our bus drivers have raved over that, the fact that they can concentrate on driving and the safety of the road. And we let our certified teachers who have volunteered to do this, now we're paying them, but they volunteered for the job, to manage the bus and the students behind the driver there. So, teachers are trained on how to do that, and they know the students, they know them by name, and so that's worked out really well. That's been helpful for our district.
All right, we got about 5 minutes left. I want to bring up something else as far as computers, and I don't know how to you use computers in your education process, right?
We do.
You have what do you call one of those little gadgets?
Well, you call it a laptop. You might be thinking a Chromebook. Is that what you're thinking of?
Probably, yeah.
Lots of names for it. But yeah, in our school district, we really since about 2000. Really going back farther than that, I think we've been on the cutting edge technology-wise as a school district. But along about 2014, we started our one-to-one initiative across the district, and we were one of the first districts in Middle Tennessee to do that, and we are maintaining that today. And we rolled out our Chromebooks to our middle schoolers and starting the second day of school, and that was a smooth process. And all of our middle schoolers at both Walter J. and Winfrey Bryant, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, they have a one-to-one device, a Chromebook, Coleman, that they can utilize 24/7. They can take that device home with them and use it at home, and it goes through all the security measures that we provide in the district as well, and so that's a positive for parents, as parents should be.
Has this really worked well? I'm sure there was a few, as we say, bugs to get out of it in the beginning. You have a few problems to overcome, but is that
Coleman, it's worked tremendously well. It really has. It's worked tremendously well, and that's the world we live in, and everywhere you go, everything's automated, and you got to work through your device. I don't care what you're doing.
Students adapt to that pretty well?
Students don't have to adapt to it. They come to us wanting and needing that. All the time, I hear adults talking about their children or babies that, can barely talk, but they're holding a device, and you know how that is. You see them out and about. So there are probably some negatives that come with that too, Coleman. But kids come to us when they start school in kindergarten, and they are used to having a device in their hands. So, and I talked about middle school students with our one-to-one, and we have one-to-one devices in our elementary schools as well for our 3rd through 5th graders. They don't take those home. They're assigned a device at school, and they keep it in their homeroom class. And then we have many devices as well for our K-2 students. They don't necessarily have one assigned to them, but they have many that they can utilize in their classroom, and a lot of touch screen devices as well. So yeah, we're technology rich in our district, and we think that's a good thing, and we want to make sure we're preparing our students for the world that they're going to live in, and that they're going to try to make a living in. And so
there's a cost that comes with this, but apparently you've been able to absorb that, and I guess there has to be they don't last forever.
They don't last forever. Yeah, we have a rollover plan that we maintain on an annual basis. Coleman, I'm looking at some numbers here. With us passing our budget in July, I came prepared to talk about that some too if we get around to that. But looking at my numbers over here, we spent almost $1 million. Right at $800,000 updating devices this school year across the district. So there is a heavy cost to that, and we just plan for that, and we upgrade a certain group of devices on an annual basis. And so hopefully by the time 3 or 4 years rolls around, we're ready to upgrade that next group. So
Scott, we got just over a minute left. Anything else you want to give us before you go this morning?
Hey, just a minute left. We'll say that again, a terrific start to the school year. We appreciate all the work that goes into that. Our principals and our teachers, in the weeks leading up to school, if you drove by a school looking at the parking lot, you really couldn't tell it was summertime, because our teachers their cars were there and they were working hard, and that's obvious. And we felt the impact of that once we started school. We just had a tremendous start to the school year. So very appreciative of that. Appreciative to our families and our students that have contributed to that as well. So we're off to a great start, and looking forward to the school year, and many successes and learning opportunities for students. Later in the week, there'll be another press release about accountability, and once again, we've got several areas that we're proud of, and we'll release that later in the week when we're able to do that, as we've scored really well the last several years in the Lebanon Special School District. And again, we've got areas that we're going to highlight where we're proud this year.
All right, Scott Benson, thanks for being with us. And again, the big news this morning, the name of the new elementary school, Jones Brummett Elementary. And thanks for sharing that with us this morning. And thanks for being here, of course.
Yes, sir.
That's it for a Tuesday. Till tomorrow, I wish you a terrific day.